Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening for our College Readiness and Financial Aid Workshop. This workshop is being brought to you this evening by Baton Rouge Sigma Alumni Chapter Educational Development Committee. We have some very valuable information for you all tonight. We want to share with you, but before we get started with the presentations, we will have a word from our chapter's first Vice President, Ms. Ernice Singleton.
Thank you, Carla. Good evening and welcome to this virtual College Readiness and Financial Aid Workshop. I am Ernice Singleton, First Vice President of Baton Rouge Sigma Alumni Chapter. On behalf of our chapter president, Shai Joseph Franklin, and our nearly 300 members, we are excited about the information that will be shared this evening. Our sisterhood provides a wide range of programming focused on 5 programmatic thrusts: educational development, economic development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. Tonight, our focus is on educational development. It is our hope that the information that's shared this evening is useful and relevant as you transition from the K-12 educational system to post-secondary education. Navigating admissions in the financial aid process can be daunting, but if one is prepared, it can be seamless. I have confidence that the information you will hear this evening will be of benefit. Again, thank you for taking the time out this evening to join us and welcome.
Thank you, Ernice. Thank you so much for that welcome. So, we're here tonight. Parents, students, are you currently contemplating how you would afford college? Or maybe you're just not sure where to start. So, what's the application process? Do I go here? Do I go there? Well, never fret. We are here this evening to help you and assist you with all of your needs tonight. I would like to take a moment to introduce our 3 dynamic presenters who will be speaking to you this evening on admissions, applications, and affordability. So whether you plan to attend a community college or a 4-year college and university, we have you covered. So please grab your pen, grab your paper, because we are definitely going to give you a wealth of information tonight. Also, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you're looking at us on Facebook or YouTube, please drop a comment in the chat, or if you're on our Zoom call, drop a comment in the chat. Your questions are being answered and monitored on Facebook, and we'll get to those and also present them to everyone so your questions can be answered, okay? So our first speakers are our dynamic duo are Ms. Tashika Davis and Ms. Brittany Williams. I'll give you a little bit of information about both of those ladies. Ms. Davis is the Director of Financial Aid at Southern University and A&M College. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and a master's degree in higher education administration. Ms. Williams is a senior policy analyst for higher education at the Education Trust. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Master in Higher Education Administration as well. She is currently pursuing her doctoral degree in Education Leadership and Policy. So we'll have our 2 speakers, Ms. Tashika Davis and Ms. Brittany Williams. Ladies.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is my pleasure to be here to present this information to you this evening with some amazing women, and especially my colleague in the field, Miss Davis, the dynamic duo for sure. And so tonight I want to come and just talk to you guys a little bit about applying, and as you guys would say it, chasing the bag. So college applications, scholarship searching, and FAFSA completion. Just as Ms. Ernice mentioned earlier, applying for college and applying for financial aid can be a daunting task. In fact, Access support and college affordability are two of the biggest barriers that students face when making the decision or even going to an institution or college of their choice. And so it is our hope that with this information provided, that we are able to maybe take some of the pressure off of you in this thought process, hopefully answer some questions that you may have, but ultimately just be a service in your pursuits for upward mobility, which starts with college degree completion. So we'll begin with discussing just a simplified checklist. So in the field, as I have worked throughout the state of Louisiana with a number of students, and my first question is always, how do I get started? What do I do? I don't even know where to start. And so if you have had some of those questions, or maybe you have thought them to yourself, then hopefully this checklist can give you a little boost of information. And so what we want to do here is we will start with applying for college, right? So it starts with the application process. And what our friends over at Common App have done is made it easier for students to apply for a number of institutions in one application. Now, caveat, not all schools are available in this common application. However, a lot of them are. And so there are quick searches that you can perform on Common App's site in order to see if the schools that you are interested in applying to are available in this one-stop shop. The next part of your checklist would be completing the FAFSA. Now, if you are a senior in Louisiana, you have had support in completing your FAFSA, and this is one of the key pieces to that college affordability that we talk about. So much money goes unclaimed from our students year after year because they missed out there on completing the FAFSA, or they miss out on money just because they didn't seek help for completing the FAFSA. Well, guess what? Help is here. We're here to help you. And when Ms. Davis comes on, we will go a little bit more in depth about what you need to do to complete the FAFSA. The next very important thing, and I hope that this is something that you put it in your pocket and keep with you throughout your journey to success. Ask for your recommendation letters as needed early. So seniors, students entering into college, students, if you need recommendation letters for your institution, do not wait until the night before to request those letters. Request your letters early and make sure they are trusted professionals that you know will speak a great deal to your assets as well as what you can bring to that institution. And then one of the most important pieces of this checklist, and maybe I should have put it first, so forgive me, is explore college tuition costs. It is so important that we start the exploration of tuition costs prior to the summer before we start school. Why is that so important? Because affordability matters. And so many students miss out on opportunities or melt out into the background because they wait until the last minute to realize that they cannot afford some of the institutions that they have been accepted into. Now, I have some information for you as far as scholarship searching. So no worries, because we want to be able to afford all of our institutions. But an important piece of that is definitely exploring your college tuition cost. And that information is available on all college websites. And so if you are having trouble finding that information, perhaps reach out to someone at that institution. It is very important that you guys get to know people on campus and who are your supporters on campus, as well as your guidance counselors at school and college counselors in your area. They can help direct you to this information. So completing our college application, let's talk about it for a little bit. So what are colleges looking for in successful applicants? Now, let me tell you, honors courses, AP courses, dual enrollment courses are very important. But in addition to those things, Institutions take into account your challenging extracurricular activities, volunteer and work experience, your test scores. Here in Louisiana, the ACT is important. So studying for that ACT to get that high score or that high number that you need to get scholarships in addition to being admitted to the institution. A well-written essay. So not all institutions require essays for admissions. However, if they do, then make sure that you partner with maybe your English teacher on campus or someone trusted in your community that would be able to proofread and go over and make sure that your essay will stand out from other applicants. And as well as your talents and your passions. And so it's important that when you are pursuing a degree, that you let your institutions know, if you can, that you are passionate about this degree because, and so that gives you an opportunity to just kind of pour yourself into your application. So scholarship resources. So we talked about the ACT being important. The ACT score is one factor that plays a part in attaining scholarships at institutions. And so before we get into our little list here, I will say, make sure that you are going on the scholarship office's websites and looking to see what ACT scores are needed to enter into those institutions. Here in Louisiana, LOSFA, or the Louisiana Office of Student Financial Assistance, they post scholarships monthly on their scholarship page, on their Facebook page, as well as on the website under scholarships. And so all you have to do is search LOSFA and scholarships, and the information will come up. And while we're speaking of LOSFA, the TOPS scholarship. And so just pulling back in our conversation about important ACT scores, TOPS is a stackable scholarship that you can get and add to whatever other awards you are eligible for. The College Board, our friends that created Common App, or they host Common App, they also have a platform available for scholarship searching as well as internships. And so definitely take advantage of those opportunities that are available for you through this measure, because they have a wealth of knowledge for you. I don't think that we say this enough, but stop by your school counselor's office. If you were like me and maybe your counselor thought, okay, well, she has it or he has it, they're able to do it. They may not need me, or they may not see me as often. You know, they seem to have it together, right? You're turning in your school awards and you're turning in your information, but do not miss out on opportunities to learn about other scholarships by going and chat with your school counselor. This person could also serve to write recommendation letters. So definitely keep that relationship tight and together. I also mentioned earlier, again, this should have been first, searching the financial aid scholarships websites. So while you're on that website looking for how much tuition costs, go ahead and see how you can get those scholarships at that institution. And then look into other organizations. So your churches, civic groups, community organizations, there are several entities out that have scholarships for students, and students, they may not know about the opportunities, or we just don't ask about the opportunities. So let's just make sure that we are capitalizing on everything that is out there for us, so that we can make the most out of this experience. So scholarships, best practices. So we talked a lot about where to go, but let's talk about what to do a little bit here. So one of the first things we want to do is broaden your search. And so in the list of things that we previously saw, I talked about going into your community, looking into things that may be affiliated with religious organizations, or talking to your scholarships person at the at the college that you're interested in, or talking to your guidance counselor. There are so many spaces that you can go to get this information. And then you want to make sure that when you are writing for your scholarships, that you tell compelling stories. So make sure that your stories are coming from, your passion place, but also make sure that you have someone that will look over your scholarships, to your scholarship writings, to make sure that they stand out from other scholarship applicants. Keep in mind, GPA and test scores matter. Before I finish speaking, you probably have a count of how many times I talk about ACT a lot, because those scores matter. Play the numbers game. So guess what? These scholarships that you're awarded are stackable. And so we hear these stories all the time about students that get $1 million in scholarships. We have a set of twins just this school year here in Louisiana that got over $1 million in scholarships. And so apply for everything. Don't lose sight of, well, I may not get it, or it may not happen for me. Take the time and invest in yourself, and you just never know. And so with that, you have to be disciplined and you have to be organized. $1 million in scholarships does not come overnight, but it takes hard work, discipline, and organization, and building relationships in the community. I am a huge proponent for relationship building and networking, even in high school, even in the 12th grade. Throughout the things that you guys can be involved in, you definitely can build a network of support, of people in the community that are doing the things that you're interested in doing. And that way you can have that more broad space for opportunities available. And at this time, I will turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Davis, and we're going to talk a little bit about FAFSA completion.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ms. Davis. I'm the Director of Financial Aid at Southern University. It's a pleasure speaking with you all this evening. So I'm going to go into the detail that a lot of you all have questions about as it relates to affordability for college. So I'm going to start off by, you could go to the next slide, Ms. Williams. We're going to discuss what the FAFSA form is, FAFSA terms to know, the best practices, the FAFSA process, and what's next. Each year, beginning October the 1st, students have the opportunity to complete the free application for federal student aid. As you can see on this slide, there are over 13 million students each year that file a FAFSA, and there is over 120 billion given in grants, work study, and low interest loans through the Department of Education. What's needed to complete the FAFSA? First, you will need to get a FSA ID. You will also need to provide your Social Security number for you and your parent. Both you and your parent has to apply for FSA ID. Students must use their parents' information up until the age of 24 years of age. I know we get a lot of questions. Well, I live on my own. I'm 19. I stay on my own, but this is not an institutional policy. This is a federal policy that we must adhere to. So unless you have a extenuating circumstance, you still are expected to provide your parents' information up until the age of 24 years of age. You'll need your driver license number, your state ID number. For the 2021-22 FAFSA, they will be looking at both you and your parents' 2019 tax records and any records of untaxed income, such as IRA deductions, education credits that you file on your tax return. Once you complete that FAFSA, it generates EFC. EFC stands for Expected Family Contribution. The Department of Education determines what that EFC amount is based on the income that you provide for you and your parent on that FAFSA, as well as any assets that you report and the number of family members in the household and in college. So once again, keep that in mind, that it's not the institution who determines the EFC. The Department of Education automatically use those components when you submit the FAFSA. Once you submit that FAFSA, you will receive a student aid report. That student aid report will let you know what your EFC is. Cost of attendance is another big term in which you will hear financial aid counselors use. Each institution has a different cost of attendance. Our cost of attendance at Southern University at Baton Rouge consists of tuition and fees, books and supplies, transportation, personal expenses, miscellaneous expenses, loan fees. Many students think that once they see their cost of attendance budget and they see that that tuition or that room and board cost or that transportation cost is part of that cost of attendance, that we are actually charging them to live on campus or charging them a fee as though they had a vehicle. However, that's not the case. The financial aid office uses the cost of attendance budget for each student, and that allows the financial aid office to determine how much financial aid you qualify for. So once again, keep in mind that each institution cost of attendance budget may be different.
Ms. Davis,
Yes.
we have a question in the chat. If a
Okay.
parent or parents are deceased, what are the next steps needed to complete a FAFSA?
If your parents are deceased, that will be a special circumstance. So you will not provide any information for the parent. The thing with a special circumstance, there's a number of things that can happen. If both parents are deceased, then you're considered an orphan award of the court. If you're selected for verification, then usually the financial aid office will ask that you provide the death certificate for both your mom and your dad. However, it could be a case where mom was your primary caregiver. You never had any relationship with your father, so you know no information in relation to your father. The financial aid office can still process financial aid and let you be an independent student, but that requires a little more additional paperwork. You would be asked to provide a copy of the parent who was your primary caregiver death certificate. And then we would ask for 3 different letters that's notarized, one from a school counselor, family member, clergy, hospital records, or things of that nature that is familiar with your case, stating that the parent who is deceased was your primary parent, and that the other parent, you have no known whereabouts of how to get in contact with them. And that's when we consider that relationship to be an estranged relationship. And those are instances in which we allow the student to be an independent student prior to the age of 24 years of age.
Thank you. No more
Yes.
questions.
Okay. So once again, the cost of attendance and expected family contribution, that lets a financial aid counselor know what your financial need is. So for example, if your cost of attendance at Southern University is $22,000, your EFC is $500, then your financial need will be $21,500. So that means we can award you up to $21,500 in financial aid for that entire academic year. When we award students both for the fall and spring semester. And also that expected family contribution, unlike the cost of attendance, it will be standard at each institution that you apply for. Because once again, remember, that's something that the Department of Education calculates on your FAFSA. Best practices. When you are getting ready to complete your FAFSA, make sure you get all of your information together. Have the social security cards for yourself, your mom, your dad. Know their date of birth, know their name. It's very important that when you are putting your mom and dad's name on your FAFSA, that it is the exact name that is on that social security card. Sometimes financial aid do get information that's saying that the student's social or the parent's social and date of birth does not match the records with the Social Security Administration. So you will want to make sure that you provide the correct name and address for yourself as is shown on your Social Security card, as well as your parents. You want to do this with not having any interruptions. Get in a quiet space. Have the tax returns from 2019 at your disposal. Pay attention to each question in detail. And once again, don't guess any income figures, because if you are selected for verification and you do not use the IRS data retrieval tool, then the financial aid office will request that you provide them with a physical copy of the IRS tax transcripts or a signed copy of that 2019 tax return. So we encourage students and parents to use that IRS data retrieval tool. When you use that tool, your information from the IRS is automatically transferred from the IRS to your FAFSA. So when you're selected for verification, there's only one document that you may need to submit to the school, which is the verification worksheet.
Ms. Davis, I have two questions.
Yes, ma'am.
The first, if there is a guardian like an aunt, but the mother is deceased, is the aunt now considered the parent in regards to FAFSA, and will that income be used?
No, for the FAFSA, you're only able to use a biological parent or an adopted parent. In the situation where your aunt has guardianship of you, that would also be another special circumstance where we would allow that student to be an independent student. We would ask for court documentation if it was legally determined by the court. Once again, if it's not, we know all the time, and I'm a prime example of one. I was raised by my grandmother. No court documentation was ever put in place. But once again, the school counselors, other third party people such as clergy, hospital records showed that my grandmother was the responsible party. So at that time, we are able to make the student an independent student.
Thank you. I have another question.
Yes,
Can a
ma'am.
student apply for this aid if they are already in college or if they have already applied and been accepted to the university?
Yes, for the 21-22 year that begins at most schools in August, you're able to complete that FAFSA from October 1, 2020, all the way to June 30th, 2022. So the FAFSA is open for a year and a half, but what you would want to do is complete that as soon as possible. Because if you wait to submit it, you might be facing additional tuition and fees that your financial aid may not cover. So completing that FAFSA as soon as possible is very important. This lets you know if you qualify for the Pell Grant. The maximum Pell Award for the 21-22 year is $64.95. That's based on the 0 EFC. The cutoff point for Pell is 58.46. And once again, if your EFC exceeds 58.46, then you automatically do not qualify for Pell. In some cases, the student EFC is so high that the only thing they qualify for is the unsubsidized loan. And in those cases, as Ms. Brittany stated earlier, that's where the scholarships play a very important role. Searching, looking for scholarships, applying for scholarships to offset that cost where you won't be getting under the burden of a loan debt that will follow you at least 20 to 30 years after you graduated.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. There are no further questions at this time.
Okay. So the FAFSA process, you will go to studentaid.gov. Once you log into studentaid.gov, it will bring you to the login screen. As you can see, you have two options. If you are the student, you would select the option that says I am the student. If you are a parent or someone else is preparing the FAFSA on your behalf, you would select the option that says I am a parent preparer, or someone submitting this form on the student's behalf. And it's going to ask for the student's first and last name, their social, and their date of birth. There are 6 different areas in which you complete prior to getting the sign and submit stage. We just went over the demographics. Section 2 is the school selection. With the school selection, you are allowed to put up to 10 different schools on that FAFSA. You will want to make sure that any school that you're interested in, make sure you add their school code to the FAFSA. That way, when you complete it, your FAFSA will go to LSU, it'll go to Dillard, it'll go to NSU, it'll go to Southern, it'll go to Grambling. Just submitting that FAFSA once, every school whose school code you list, it will automatically be sent to that school's financial aid office. It also adds information about your high school completion. Do you have a high school diploma? Did you do a home study where you graduated through the home study? It's also going to be asking you what year of college degree that you're seeking. So if you're beginning to be a first-time freshman for the fall, you're going to be working on your bachelor's degree. It wants to know if you will have your bachelor's degree before you begin the school year. So this right here wanted to know, would you have your bachelor's degree before you begin the 2021 school year? And that answer would be no, because once again, you're high school and you've never attended college. This is your first semester as a college student. And the last question on this was, are you interested in being considered for federal work study? We encourage all students to answer yes to that question. For Southern University, 90% of our students are automatically packaged for work study based on them answering yes or no to this question. However, we do set aside a small amount to award additional students manually. What this does is, if you are available to receive work study, then there's a great chance that will automatically be offered to you. What everyone needs to keep in mind is that each year, every institution has more students eligible to receive work study than they're able to award. Unfortunately, the Department of Education only gives each institution a certain dollar amount each year for work study. So work study is offered and awarded on a first come, first served basis. The dependency status. So there's a number of questions that determines whether you're an independent or dependent student. It will ask, or what's your marital status? Are you active in the military? Are you married or remarried? You could go, Ms. Williams. Then it's gonna also ask the information for your parent. They want to know what your parent's marital status is as of the date that you're completing that FAFSA. So if mom is married but not married to dad, unfortunately, they're going to be asking for stepfather's information as well, because that status is married. Then they also want to know the month and the year that your parents did get married. At Southern University, for any parents who list that they are separated or divorced and it's been within the last 2 years, so for instance, we're in the 21-22 aid year. For a parent who had a marital separation status as of 2019, we do require that you submit additional documentation showing that you and your husband or your wife are no longer living in the same household, that y'all are maintaining two different households. And then this allows the financial aid office to use only one parent's information for that student's FAFSA instead of two. So this is what I was speaking of. You'll list the parent who you live with most during the 12 months. If you live with both parents equally, then you're going to list the parent who provided the most financial support to you for those 12 months. And as I stated, additional documentation such as legally divorce paperwork. We all know that Louisiana doesn't do legal separation. So we just require that the parents present that they're maintaining two separate households as for utility bill or mortgage or rent agreement showing two separate addresses. The divorced parent is remarried, then that parent must list their spouse's information as well. If your parents are not married but living together, you will still list both parents' information on that FAFSA. What's included in the household? So automatically you as the student is included. You will list your parent. You will list any other children such as sisters, brothers, nieces and nephews, because we know that a lot of times parents do take in their grandkids. They do help out with their nieces and nephews. So any other children besides your siblings that is getting 50% or more of your parents' financial support, they would need to be listed in the household as well. So we're down to the parent finances. You're gonna need the 2019 tax information. As you can see at the very bottom of this page, it has the option that says link to the IRS. Once you click that link, it automatically redirects you to the IRS website. In order for that information to be transmitted, they're going to verify if you are who you're stating you are. So on there is going to ask, what was your name that you filed on your 2019 tax return? What was your filing status? And it's also going to ask for the address that you use for your 2019 tax return. And if for any reason any of those options do not match what they have in their system, then it's going to give you an error message said that they're unable to provide the link and transfer your information to the FAFSA. So once again, make sure that you know, if you're a student, it's best to have your parent with you when completing the FAFSA. But in a case where you don't, make sure you get all of that information from them. Because if you do not put their name correctly, or you might have moved since 2019. If you put the address that you're staying at now, and that's not the address that your parent used on their 2019 tax return, then the IRS has no way of verifying that you are who you say you are and providing that information to link to your FAFSA.
Ms. Davis, I have a Facebook question.
Okay.
If you are a student and you qualify for tuition assistance because your parents have VA percentages that allow the student to attend free or at a lower cost, does that student still need to complete a FAFSA?
No, but once again, we still encourage all students to complete the FAFSA, because even though you're getting that free tuition, you could qualify for Pell, and Pell is a grant that you get that's free. You're not required to pay that money back. So we still encourage our students still to complete the FAFSA.
Thank you. No further questions at this time.
Okay. So the IRS data retrieval. The IRS sends the tax data directly to the FAFSA. Once again, it reduces the documents that the financial aid office is requesting from you. Any information that the IRS transfers to that FAFSA, we encourage students and parents not to make any changes to that information. If you go in and make a change after the IRS has transmitted the information to your FAFSA, then it's going to give us a code that says the information was transferred but changed. And then it's going to put you in a situation where we're going to still go back and ask you to submit that tax transfer for that tax return. The participation is voluntarily, but once again, is strongly recommended. It provides a way of submitting the information through a confidential state where no one sees your social security number when you're faxing the information in, mailing the information in, emailing the information in. It's just a secure way in submitting your information with the time and case sensitive information. After you've completed the FAFSA, before you press submit, make sure you review each section. Go through each section, make sure the socials are correct, the date of birth is correct, your name is correct. And at the end, now you're finally at the section that says sign and submit. It's going to ask the student to provide their FSA ID and password. And once you submit that FAFSA, then your parent will have to go back in and submit their FSA ID and password to sign that FAFSA as well. Once both signatures are received, then your FAFSA is processed. You will receive a student aid report letting you know that the FAFSA has been processed. It will let you know what your EFC is. It'll also give you an important information such as if you're selected for verification. It takes about 24 hours for them to process your FAFSA. Technically, for most institutions, we tell students it could take anywhere between 3 to 5 business days for us to receive that information. But most times we get it within 48 to 72 hours after completion of that FAFSA. And then you will receive a congratulations page. You will want to print this out for your information. As you can see at that top, it gives you a data release number, that DRN. In the event that you have completed your FAFSA, but you've decided that you want to attend, example, Southern University, but you didn't put Southern University school code on that FAFSA. If you call our financial aid office, the first thing that the financial aid counselor will ask you is if you have your DRN number. If you have your DRN number, then the financial aid counselor is able to log into your FAFSA, add Southern school code so that we can receive that information. If you do not have that information or don't want to provide that information to us, then you will need to go back on the FAFSA at that point and add our school code. You will receive an email notification. It'll be sent to all schools that you list on your FAFSA. Each school will determine what financial aid you qualify for based on the cost of attendance and EFC. Each school will also contact you, letting you know if you have more information that needs to be submitted before they can determine how much your financial aid offer can be awarded to you. So it's very important that you pay attention to all email correspondences from any institution that you have applied for and is looking to attend, because that's usually the method in which they communicate with their students, through email. And you will want to make sure that you submit that information as soon as possible. By submitting it as soon as possible, it prevents you from waiting in long registration lines. When you actually come to the school to move into housing, you and your parents already know how much financial aid you have available. You're able to know if you still owe anything with your financial aid based on the actual tuition and fee costs for that semester. And once again, please don't hesitate to contact the school financial aid department in which you're seeking to go to. For my office, my staff automatically knows for all phone calls that voicemails are left, I need them to return calls in 24 hours. For emails, you got 36 hours. And I always tell students, please, when you call, make sure you leave a voicemail. But on top of that, send an email, because once you send an email, I trust you. I hold my staff accountable to give excellent customer service. And thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. Excellent. Oh, what a wealth of information. Thank you all so much, Ms. Davis and Ms. Williams. We appreciate that. So what did we take away from you all's presentations? We're going to complete the Common App, and we're going to complete the FAFSA. The sooner, the better. Okay? And we thank y'all. We're not finished yet, though. Remember, we're about options. So without further ado, we have our next dynamic speaker, and she is Miss Cherry Wells. Miss Wells is a passionate director of career success of River Parishes Community College. She has a bachelor's of science degree with a double major in marketing and management information systems. She also has a master's of business education degree with a concentration in management. So if you're deciding, hey, right now I don't want to attend college or university, I do want to look into going to a community college, this is for you. So please, Ms. Cherry Wells, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on tonight. I just want to thank Miss Davis and Miss Williams. You guys were very extensive in giving out information about financial aid. So I won't have to go too much into that, because everything is federal. So it's kind of the same. So what I'm going to do today for everyone is kind of introduce you to or reintroduce you to the community college. So River Parishes Community College functions under the LCTCS college system. That means the Louisiana Community and Technical College System. There's about 12 colleges within the state of Louisiana that fall under that particular system. And so we'll go right on into our mission and our vision. So as you can see, we are an open admissions institution. We are set up so we can serve the community. We go across different parishes within the river region. We provide workforce training, certificates, diplomas, and our associate degrees. And so right now we do have an interim chancellor, Dr. Carlson. We'll get a new chancellor come January of 2022. Okay, so as I stated before, River Parishes Community College goes across a vast number of parishes. We go all the way from across the river to almost heading towards New Orleans. We have locations in Booty, Louisiana, and Gonzales, Louisiana, and Plaquemine, Louisiana, and Reserve, Louisiana, and also in our St. Charles Parish. So if you're looking and you're trying to decide if you want to go to a four-year university, or if you're looking at a community college, most community college programs, they run 2 years. We offer, you can get an associate's degree or you can get a technical degree. Most of the associate degrees, they run 2 years. Our Louisiana transfer degrees means that you are earning credits that you can use when you transfer to a four-year institution. We also have our technical education programs. The difference, you can also earn an associate's degree in our technical programs as well. The difference between the technical education and the associate's degree is that the students that earn the associate's degree, they do take extra general education courses, so where they get 62 credit hours. Some of the programs that we have in our academic divisions, they are cohorts, like our medical assistant program and our allied health program. Besides our academic programs, if you are not wanting to go the full 2 years and go for an associate's degree or to receive a technical degree, then we also have our workforce training areas. Our workforce areas, most of the students who go through this particular program, they earn certifications. The certifications, these programs can be either 1 or 2 days, they could be a week, they could be 2 weeks, they could be 3 to 4 weeks, or even 6 weeks. So as you see here, we have a plethora of programs. Some of our programs now, since we've moved into the pandemic era, we've been forced to kind of do some things virtually. So our non-destructive testing program, that is now virtual. Some of the components you will have to come into the school to do on hand. So those are all of our programs here. All right, so next we talk about how do you apply to RPCC? As I said before, we're open admissions college. That means that there is no admissions. We don't ask for an essay. You don't have a specific ACT score that you'll have to make to apply to RPCC. What you will need is an high school diploma or a GED, or completed the HiSET exam. So on that note, we do offer, as one of our programs before, our Work Ready You adult education programs, where if you have not completed your high school degree, you can sign up at RPCC and take classes through Work Ready You, and then you can also sign up to take the HiSET exam at RPCC as well. So here to apply for RPCC, whether you're a new student or you have already been at RPCC or transferred from another college, all of our whole application process is online. So you go to rpcc.edu, you'll go to admissions, and you will apply online and submit all your information. These are some of the, you can also mail your documents to RPCC, and that is our mailing address right there. And also, if you do not want to mail them, you can drop it off at any one of our 5 campuses as well, because we are one college. All right, so here I kind of listed just some minor dates to think about if you are wanting to apply. We did open our admissions where students can apply for courses on April the 1st. So if you're looking to enroll for the fall 2021 semester, the last day to register for classes would be August the 17th. As of August the 18th, that's when a little bit of a late fee will apply. So if you are wanting to go ahead and apply, now would be the time. All right, next, we're going to talk about some of our financial aid. I know Ms. Williams and Ms. Davis talked about going out and researching and seeing how much certain programs cost. Are you able to afford them? And so here is kind of like a snapshot of some of our technical programs that the students move into. And so as you can see, it's kind of a more affordable. I mean, the highest is about a little over $6,000. But it's pretty affordable. Most of them are when you see the first, second, third, and fourth, all those are just the semesters that it takes to complete the program. Okay. All right, next, applying for financial aid. I'm not gonna spend too much time. Ms. Davis and Ms. Williams gave us everything we needed to know about applying for financial aid. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna move on to the next one. So contacts. So for RPCC, just kind of put some context on here, really simple to remember. If you have any questions about applying online, you'll go to admissions at rpcc.edu. If you have any questions about financial aid, you go to financial aid at rpcc.edu. If you are wondering, well, I really like RPCC, how do I pay them? Well, here you go. You go to business office at rpcc.edu. Also, if, as stated before, you don't have to make a specific score for the ACT to be admitted, but we do take in, you can apply with the ACT or the AccuPlacer, which is a placement test. And once you take the AccuPlacer, it kind of decides on which general education course as it pertains to English or as it pertains to math, whether you'll start in a developmental course or whether you'll go straight to our English 1010 or college algebra. So with that being said, If you would need to sign up to take the AccuPlacer exam, our placement test, this is the information for our assessment center coordinator, and that's tperry@rpcc.edu. Now, your last step, or even your beginning step, here at Over the Career Center. So we have tools here if you are just getting out of high school and you're not quite sure what program to even enter or what direction that you would like to take. We do offer aid here in the Career Center to help move you and navigate you through that process. And also, we are here for your ending process, which is the goal in mind to find a job.
Ms. Wells, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If I took the AccuPlacer test at another school, can I use that score at your school?
Yes, we do accept AccuPlacer scores or any test scores from other schools. And we do have a list of mandatory scores that you have to take, so we'll know which ones to place you in. But yes, we do take them from other schools.
Thank you. No other questions at this time.
Thank you. Well, that concludes, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. We surely appreciate that. Oh, we have gained a wealth of information tonight. Ms. Davis, Ms. Wells, Ms. Williams, you all have done an awesome job to get this information out to everyone joining us tonight on Facebook, YouTube, and also on our Zoom on the other end. Like I said, we can't thank you enough for our students, for our parents who may have not received this information as yet. And understand, you all, it's not too late. It's never too late. You just want to go ahead and do what you need to do as soon as possible. And we are here. And if you don't know where to start, we have the contacts, and we'll be more than willing if you reach out to us through Facebook. Go to our website, and we'll be more than willing to get you in touch with who you need to get in touch with here. These ladies, I know they are more than willing to assist in whichever way that they can. So once again, ladies, I can't thank you enough. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And before we go, our president of Baton Rouge Sigma Alumni Chapter has joined us this evening, Ms. Shy Joseph Franklin. And I know she would like to say something before we wrap up.
I am holding two hats this evening, and the first hat of being a school counselor. I have been here the entire time and jumping behind the scenes saying, yes, yes, yes. I am so thrilled that we are here and being able to provide this information to, one, our seniors that are about to walk out of the door, our juniors that are about to become seniors, and if we have any 9th through 10th grade parents, this is information that if you're hearing for the first time, it will not be your last time. I was talking with one of our colleagues, and they said, this is a very good presentation, and I agree. The main thing is for our parents, once you hear this information, know that you're not going to take everything in at the first time. So be sure that the next time you have another opportunity for a platform such as this, hear something new again and go back. I think Miss Davis said it earlier, or even Miss Brittany, get to know your child's school counselor. That person will be another key to open up a wide variety of doors for your student. And you may be a resource for the counselor themselves to be able to bring information so that you can keep that school counselor on their toes. They know that, oh, here comes Ms. Johnson. She's going to ask me for something. So make sure that you be in contact with the counselor, as well as have the counselors to give you the information that you need. That's my school counselor hat. I am excited. Now, as president of Baton Rouge Sigma, I want to definitely say thank you to the leadership of the educational development team that's brought this to us this evening. And know this is an ongoing conversation. Our educational development thrust that we use under our national umbrella of Delta Sigma Theta is something that we're ongoing or constantly doing, constantly educating individuals and constantly wanting persons to be educated by us and others. So with that being said, thank you to Carla this afternoon. Thank you to Dawn for being there to be able to answer the questions. Thank you to my first vice, Dr. Singleton, for being able to open up for us. And our Facebook family, our YouTube family, know that these are continuing education hours for you and your family to grow. I'm looking forward to the next $1 million baby that we have coming right out of our backyards. So with that, thank you. We wish you well. Plug in the next time. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good evening. The school counselors are saying yes, yes. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you. It's so good to see you, Miss Wells. Good to see you, Miss Davis. Good to see you, Miss Brittany.
You guys were awesome.
Yes, yes.
It's good to see you too, Miss Joseph Franklin. How
No. Look, and busy. Look, try not to pull out the last few little strings of hair I have left. But we're all saying the same thing. So that's one thing I'm very proud of. We want to say the same things. Ms. Wells, I'm gonna have to give River Parish back over to some of the schools so that we can get some of this information and continue to push it out.
Oh,
And
yes.
you know, I wanted to say to our audience that we're not promoting one or the other, because all of this information can be used across the board. This is just some stepping stones, but of course, we definitely thank you all for being here. Very, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Colin, Dawn. We can stop the streaming now.
We're about to.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, is it over?
I think it's still live. And pull the plug. It's still live.
Give me a sec, I'll log in.
Okay, thank you. Live TV, you gotta love it.
Okay, I'm in.